Hi, this is Eric Naylor from Minnesota Kung Fu, and I'm teaching concepts from my own system that I call Casilian Kung Fu. Today we're talking about joint locks and how to both train them and then tactics for how to apply them in a real fight. The tactics for applying them are a little bit different for self-defense than for sport, and I'm going to talk about for self-defense. The difference is, for self-defense, I'm always assuming worst possible scenario, so I'm assuming that my opponent's going to be stronger than me, that there's not going to be weight classes and such. And if you have someone significantly stronger than you, that forces you to do things a little bit differently. You can't just use strength to accomplish a goal, versus if you're in the same weight class, you can maybe get away with something that's a little more strength-based. So the first point on training is you need to get a good instructor if you don't know joint locks already. Because joint locks have a lot of details. A lot of times there's pushing and pulling actions. You might be turning and applying pressure at the same time, hitting a diagonal angle and down. So there's a lot of little details, and that can be a difference between it being successful and failing. And even the details of what you do if they start moving in a certain way or resisting a certain way. So ideally, the best instruction will be in person. In person, you can have the instructor do the technique to you, and then you can feel how it's done, which will help you to actually do it yourself. They can also correct the little details you might do wrong, such as maybe when you step forward, you release pressure on the lock a little bit and don't give consistent pressure, or your angle slightly off. Now, having said that, if you have an instructor who just stands in front of the room and does it a couple times and says go do it, and they don't walk around and help you with the details, then you might actually be better off learning from a video, because on video you can rewatch it and you can see all the details, and if they walk you through all the details on a video, a good instructor can help with that. The key is, if you are doing it off a video, is then you really need a good partner, and you need that in class too, but because a partner can give you feedback that you'd be missing without the instructor, such as whether it's working or not. They can tap when it starts to hurt, so you can feel how much pressure you need to actually get the pain. If your angle is slightly off, maybe they can correct that, or they can let you try different angles and see which one works better. Now, the key is, when you're learning something new, always break it down to small elements and really perfect each element. Don't try it too fast. Go slow and really get good at it. It's just like if you're learning to teach a kid to hit a baseball with a bat. Commonly, you'll set the ball up on a tee, so it's not moving at first, and then you hit it. Then you might throw it gently to them so they can, again, have success. You want to have success and then gradually make it more difficult. But you want to keep having success, and that's how you learn. You don't have someone come out and throw a 95-mile-per-hour fastball to a little kid who's never hit a ball. All you're going to do is make them think it's impossible, intimidate them, and maybe get them hurt. That's not going to teach them anything. So failure can teach you at higher levels once you have your basic skills down, but beginning levels, you need to have success and build on that. So if you can't consistently do something at a certain speed, don't go faster, don't add more resistance, because that's not going to make you better. You need to be consistent in your techniques. And that's another thing with resisting. If you are stronger, don't push through it, because again, we're assuming that we're not going to be fighting someone stronger than us. So even though your training partner might be weaker than you, it will develop bad habits if you just force your way through with strength. So now, for applying things, basically there's three areas or tactics that I think you need at least one of to have success in a fight. The first possibility would be distraction. So if you have a strong enough distraction, you can succeed with a lock. And what I mean by distraction is, the best way to distract someone is usually to hit them. So if someone does resist, a lot of times you'll have partners who will say, well, in real fight, they're not going to be compliant. They're going to resist, so they stiffen up. Well, in a real fight, if someone stiffens up and doesn't let you do a lock on them, you hit them. And you hit them a couple times. If you don't want to hurt them too bad, maybe just punch them. If you're not worried about hurting, you might be sticking them in the eyes, throat, groin, knee, something that's really damaging. Otherwise, you strike them to make them stop resisting and make them more compliant. Then you can apply the lock. And that's why oftentimes I don't do a lock as a first move. A lot of times it's the second, third, fourth move into a series where I've already hit the person a few times, and then I use the lock to take them to the ground, or to damage a joint, or do some other thing like that. So distraction is a key thing that can help you. Another thing that can help you is attributes. So when I say attributes, I'm referring to two specific ones that I'd say are most important. Speed. If you're super fast, you might be able to apply a lock before the person can resist it. Even if you're not quite that fast, if you create the distraction, you need to be fast enough to apply a lock before they reorientate themselves and start resisting again. So speed is an important option. Again, if you have a lot of one of these attributes, or tactics, usually you don't need all the other ones, but the more you combine together, the more your chances are. The other attribute that's important is sensitivity. So if you're not very fast, sensitivity can help you. And what I mean by sensitivity is your ability to feel what your opponent's doing. So if you start applying a straight arm bar and they pull back, you can then switch to a bent arm bar and use their own momentum against them. So the sensitivity to feel where they're moving and then adjust to that can save you when you don't have the speed to finish the lock before they start resisting. So you use your sensitivity to use their resistance against them. So especially if they're pulling in a certain direction, you just change the lock that goes in that direction. Now if you have both speed and sensitivity combined, that's great, that's all the better. But having one or the other will definitely be helpful. And the last category would be the element of surprise. So surprise, pretty obvious, but basically when someone's doing something to you, they're grabbing for you, punching for you, if you do a technique on them that they're not expecting, they will then, you have the element of surprise. You might be able to finish the technique, especially if you combine it with speed, before they can start resisting, because they didn't expect it to happen. Maybe they're throwing a punch, and you take that into a straight arm bar and take it to the ground immediately. Before they even realize their punch didn't hit you, they may be already on the ground. So basically those are the main elements I would say you need one of. So if they resist hard, or if that's when the striking comes in, or you set up to begin with striking. So distraction, attributes, either speed or sensitivity, or both, or the element of surprise. If you have at least two of those different areas combined together, you're going to have a good chance of success. If you don't have any of them, you're almost guaranteed to fail. And that's where a lot of times when people test techniques in this training type situation, they fail, because you're trying to do it safely, so you're going slow, so you don't have speed. You're probably not really going to hit the person, so there's not really strong distraction. You could maybe kick them in the shin or something, not as hard, but again, you don't want to make your partners angry. There's no element of surprise because they know what you're doing. So the only real chance you have is sensitivity, maybe. But again, if you're not changing between different locks, if you're only using one lock, you don't have that either. So you're basically guaranteed to fail in the training situation if you aren't able to do all those elements. Anyways, so that's all I have for today. Feel free to leave comments if you have anything where you think I left out or disagree, and I'll try and address those issues. Otherwise, thanks for watching.